Good morning, my name is Lee Napoli and welcome to my little chocolate shop, Chocolatierer Chocolates. Today we're going to be making some chocolate bunnies. This time of year, all these little candies are really popular, and you can often find the chocolate molds at any hardware or craft store, Michael's, A.C. Moore, even sometimes the drugstores now have them. So for anybody out there who's feeling really courageous and adventuresome, I'm going to show you how to do it. The first thing you want to do is make the filling for any candy you're going to make. And today our filling is going to be a chocolate ganache. Ganache is just simply heavy cream and chocolate combined together. We're going to make ours from bittersweet, dark bittersweet chocolate and the heavy cream. To begin, I've measured 2 cups of heavy cream, and I'm going to measure it into my pan here. Place it over the burner. We want to scald the heavy cream. Scalding is the point just before boiling. I can see that my heavy cream is scalded and ready now. I have small bubbles around the edge of the pan. I can see the steam coming off of the heavy cream. So I'm going to turn the heat down now and add my chocolate into the heavy cream. You turn your heat down so you don't catch the chocolate and burn it. Since you scalded your heavy cream first, it's already nice and hot to start melting the chocolate. So by turning the heat down, you can just finish the job and not worry about catching or burning the chocolate. So the chocolate has sat in the scalded heavy cream long enough, and it melted nicely. I was able to whisk it smooth. You can see the beautiful shine. You always hope to see that beautiful shine anytime you're working with the chocolate. We were very lucky since I tended it continuously, and you always want to do that once you add the chocolate to the heavy cream. Don't walk away from the range top even though you've turned the heat down. You'll be able to tell when you've done that when your ganache is finished, as ours is now, and when you pour it onto a sheet pan like I'm doing now. If perchance you did burn your chocolate or catch it on the bottom of the pan, you will know in about 5 minutes, because instead of this beautiful silky shine, you will develop a layer of grease on top of your chocolate. And unfortunately, when that happens, you have to start over. You can whisk the chocolate and it will look beautiful again, but the grease will always come back. Once you have your ganache into your sheet pan, and again, you can put it in a bowl or anything. We use a sheet pan so that there's less of it and it will set faster for us. You want to cover it right on the top with the plastic wrap, right next to the chocolate. Otherwise, the chocolate will get a skin, and then that very top layer you won't be able to use. Now it's ready to go in the fridge. It'll take about a half hour till it chills and sets, and then it'll be ready to pipe for the filling in our candies. So now we're ready to melt and temper the chocolate to make the candies. Tempering the chocolate is the process that gives the chocolate the beautiful shine and strength and the nice bite when you bite into the candy. In order to do that, we chop up about 1.5 pounds of chocolate, put it in a stainless steel bowl, and again set it over a pot of water. Now, the pot of water, you only need about 1 inch of water in there. You don't need to fill the pot. Ideally, you don't want the water to boil, and you never want the water to splash the bottom of the bowl while the chocolate is melting. It's too hot for the chocolate. So we chopped up our chocolate, placed it over the bowl, and now it's melted. We want to melt the chocolate to a temperature of 110 degrees. You can pick up a simple plain or digital meat thermometer just about anywhere. Candy thermometers won't work for this process because they don't go to a low enough temperature. And this tells me my chocolate is at 112. So we're ready to take the chocolate off of the heat. So the chocolate is melted. It came off at 112. Remember, you want to go to 110, no higher than 120. And now we want to cool the dark chocolate down to a temperature of about 91 degrees. And to do that, we're going to add a little more of the same chocolate that isn't melted. And as you can see, this chocolate has been chopped very fine. We call this the seeding chocolate, S-E-E-D-I-N-G, and we add it in a handful at a time over the top of the chocolate and slowly work it through. You don't ever want to be vigorous when you're moving around melted chocolate. It creates a lot of air in there and it will thicken the melted chocolate and just make it that much more difficult for you to work with. So I'm going to sprinkle another handful over the top, slowly move it around. And once I get 3 or 4 handfuls of the seeded chocolate in here, then I'll check the temperature again and see if I'm close to 91 degrees, which is where I want to go. 93 degrees. So I'm just going to add a little bit more, and then I know I'll be ready to go since I'm already in the neighborhood at 93 degrees. For those of you who might be doing this at home, a great trick to keep it at that 91 degrees for 20 minutes or so is to put it on a heating pad. Put a piece of plastic wrap over the top, turn the heating pad on medium, and it'll help you and keep that chocolate tempered for you until you get all your molds filled. And now we're ready to do step 1 and fill the mold, which is actually making what will be the top of your candy. It's very important to try to be as neat as possible when you're doing this. First of all, every time you take the chocolate out of the bowl, you can't reuse it until it is retempered. So you want to be sparingly when you're taking it out. You have to fill each cavity of the candy mold to the top. If you don't fill it to the top with chocolate, if there's any little bare spot there, once you put the filling in the end, when you try to take the candy out, it will stick because it'll be the filling against the mold and not your tempered chocolate. So it's important to fill every mold to the top, and you want to give it a couple good wraps. That's to get the air bubbles out, and also, depending on how intricate the design is on your mold, it helps the chocolate to settle down into any little grooves or cavities that might be in your mold. Once you tap out your air bubbles, you're going to take your chocolate, your tray of chocolate, and you're going to turn it upside down. And it's a circular motion. This is your last attempt to try to help to coat the cavity in case you missed a little bit of it when you were filling it with the chocolate. And that's a final wrap I like to do on the corner of the table just to get any extra little bit of chocolate that might be unnecessary in the mold. While you still have the tray upside down, you're going to take a bench scraper. If it's metal, it's a bench scraper, and if it's plastic, it's a dough scraper. You're going to take a metal bench scraper, and you're just going to scrape across the mold to catch any of the last of that chocolate that might be running out. And then turn your mold over and just clean the top up a little bit. And we can see that we have nice deep cavities here. We have a nice chocolate coating. We didn't miss any spots and lots of room for filling, which is very important. At this point, you want to take your mold and set it aside somewhere not real warm. If you're in a hurry, you put it in the refrigerator. It'll take probably about 10 or 15 minutes until the chocolate sets. Your visual aid at that point is the chocolate will not have any more shine, and that'll let you know that it has solidified and you can go ahead and pipe in your fillings. And our chocolate is all set in the mold, and as I told you, and now you can visually see, the shine is gone, which means the chocolate is nice and hard and ready to be filled. I have filled the ganache that we made earlier for our filling into pastry bags. Now the ganache recipe that we have made would make 36 bunnies this size. There are 12 on this tray, so just to give you an idea of, these are each about 2 inches, these candies. So just to give you an idea of how much candy you could fill with the batch of ganache we made. When you're ready to fill the chocolate cavities for your candies, put your ganache into a pastry bag, twist it tight up at the end, and then push from back by where you have twisted the bag. Never try to push the filling out from down here. It just creates a mess and a lot more work for yourself. And now we squeeze the ganache into the molds. It's very important to remember at this step that we still have to get one more layer of chocolate on here, which is going to be the bottom of our candy. So you have to keep that in mind when you're piping in the filling. And you can mix and match fillings if you wanted to put two different types or sprinkle some nuts or dried fruit in with the ganache. And I filled all the cavities. Now I want to make sure that they're not too full so I can get the bottom layer of chocolate on. So I'm going to hold my candy tray up eye level. And as long as I don't see any of the filling, then I know I'm not going to be in trouble when I put the bottom layer on. If you find that once you've piped your filling in, you have a lot of we call tails where you stopped with the pastry bag, it's important to remember that you need to touch your finger to a damp cloth and then the ganache if you want to get rid of it. Otherwise, the ganache will just keep coming back up onto your finger. Now we're ready for the final step. We're going to put the bottoms on. Back to our tempered chocolate. This time, instead of filling each cavity individually, you just want to cover the backs. And I'm helping the chocolate go down by tilting the tray. That's fine if you have a nice thick filling. If you have a thinner, more liquid filling, it's important to remember to keep the tray level. Or if you tilt it to help the chocolate, your filling is going to start to come out. We want to cover the back completely of each of the pieces. And again, then we're going to take our candy tray and we're going to give it a couple good wraps for the air bubbles. And this also helps the chocolate to settle down in around where you've piped the filling in the cavity. And I just want to scrape off a little bit of the excess chocolate right now. I'm going to give it one more wrap for the air bubbles. It's very noisy making chocolate. Most people don't realize it. And now we're ready to, as we say, find our candy. We go back to our metal bench scraper. And at an angle, we scrape off the excess chocolate, and there is our candy. So we're going to pop this back into the fridge now and keep our eye on it. And the minute we know that this candy is set and cool enough to come out, we're going to rescue it and release it from the mold. Okay, we have rescued our candies from the refrigerator. They were in there, we hope, just long enough to get them set. And now we're going to bang them out. You want to bang it on an angle so there's somewhere for that candy to fall. Oh, and we have 12 happy little bunnies. The only thing left to do is to give our bunnies a tail. You're just going to brush a little bit of chocolate on the tail the bunny already has. And then stick your marshmallow on there. And as you can see, I am working with plastic gloves on. And the reason for that is the oils in your hands will mark the chocolate. And after you've gone to so much trouble to make your beautiful, shiny, well-tempered candies, the last thing you want to do is have fingerprints all over them. It takes just a minute or two, and then the chocolate will set, and the little marshmallow tail will forever be a part of your chocolate bunny. Anyone can do it. Just be prepared and have some patience. Thanks.